I'm trying to be a professional singer.
And why hasn't it worked out so far, Susan?
I've never been given the chance before, but here's hoping it'll change.
And Susan is the opposite. She never wished to be famous, she wanted to be a singer, and she doesn't conform. She's just a normal person.
At 63, Susan Boyle finally reveals her rise to fame was nothing short of a fairy tale as she captivated millions with her voice on Britain's Got Talent. She amassed a fortune surpassing $45 million through her music, a testament to her widespread appeal and talent. Now, why would someone with the world at her fingertips choose to step back into the shadows? Prepare to uncover secrets that may change everything you thought you knew about her. The untold story of her public retreat. Curious about why Susan Boyle disappeared from the public eye? Let's take a closer look at what led to her surprising decision. Her story is a perfect example of why we shouldn't judge people based on our first impressions. She was born on April 1st, 1961, in Blackburn, Scotland, as the youngest of 11 children. Her dad, Patrick Boyle, was a miner who loved to sing, while her mom, Bridget Boyle, worked as a typist. Little did anyone know, the pressures of fame were silently taking their toll, and a mysterious letter found hidden in her attic years later would reveal a heart-wrenching secret that would turn everything we thought we knew on its head. Susan grew up in a simple home in West Lothian, Scotland, and she still lives there today. During her school years, she faced some academic struggles, and music became her safe space. Feeling a bit out of place and lonely at times, she found joy in singing. She started performing in her church choir and at local events. Her mom, seeing how much she loved to sing, encouraged her to audition for Britain's Got Talent. At first, she hesitated, thinking she was too old when the show started in 2004. But after her mother passed away in 2007, she gathered her courage and decided to try out for the show in 2008. When she stepped onto the stage in Glasgow and sang "I Dreamed a Dream" from Les Miserables, the audience and judges were completely amazed. Her voice stunned everyone, and she got a standing ovation that would change her life forever. People had judged her at first based on her looks and background, but her performance proved them all wrong. Even celebrities like Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher praised her, and her audition became one of the most watched videos on YouTube. Although she didn't win the competition, coming in second place, her career took off in a huge way. She went on tour with other contestants and soon started working on her first album. Released in November 2009, it broke records as the fastest-selling debut album by a female artist, selling over 2 million copies in its first week. Her path to fame wasn't an easy one. She was the youngest of several siblings, and her birth came with complications. Due to a lack of oxygen when she was born, she faced learning difficulties from a young age. School was a tough place for her. She was bullied not just by her classmates, but also by her teachers, which made her time at school painful and difficult. Her classmates gave her the cruel nickname Susie Simple, making every day a challenge. But her life took a turn when she appeared on Britain's Got Talent. It wasn't just about singing for her. It was a chance to show everyone who had doubted her that she was more than they thought. Her amazing performance on the show was a message to those who had teased and doubted her dreams. The song she sang, "You'll See," became a symbol of her determination and strength to overcome the negative voices in her life. In 2011, she opened up about some of the more painful parts of her childhood. She talked about her struggles with epilepsy and a learning disorder that wasn't diagnosed until much later in her life. While doctors eventually figured out what was wrong, her family and teachers struggled to manage her epilepsy. This made things even harder for her. Although epilepsy is something many artists like Sir Elton John and Neil Young also live with, she faced more difficulties due to poor care. At school, her classmates often made fun of her seizures. Sometimes she would pass out in class, and when she woke up, she would be greeted with laughter and cruel jokes. Things weren't much better at home either. Her parents didn't always handle her epilepsy well. Sometimes they were overprotective, and other times they didn't help at all. Her father would brush off her need for help, calling her touchy, which only made her feel more alone. But that wasn't the worst of it. Many people mistakenly thought her seizures were just part of her learning difficulties, so they didn't take her epilepsy seriously. Because of this, she didn't get the medical help she needed. When she finished school, she left with very few qualifications, which made finding a job nearly impossible. She applied to many jobs, but her lack of education and undiagnosed learning disability led to rejection after rejection. She did manage to get a job as a trainee cook at West Lothian College, but it only lasted 6 months. After that, she bounced from one government training program to another, never finding steady work. Despite all these setbacks, she found joy in singing at local events. It was the only way she could share her love for music. But after suffering a personal loss, she decided to chase a dream that had always seemed out of reach. She grew up with values like forgiveness and living simply. During her famous audition for Britain's Got Talent, she mentioned that she had never been kissed, a statement that reflected how she lived her life with honesty and humility. After her father passed away, she took on the responsibility of caring for her elderly mother by herself. Her siblings had moved away, so she was left alone to care for their mother. During this time, her only companion was her cat, Pebbles, who had been with her for 10 years. Even after becoming rich and famous, she chose to stay in the same house she had always lived in. She preferred the quiet, simple life she had before fame found her. After her mother, Bridget, passed away, she withdrew from the world. She didn't speak to anyone or leave her home for several days, choosing instead to grieve in solitude. Moving forward, the next chapter will delve deeper into how Susan's past shaped her future decisions. The Susan Boyle story. Susan lived a calm and devoted life, guided by her strong Roman Catholic faith. She was very involved in her church's choir and made it a point to visit the elderly in her neighborhood. In a 2010 interview on The Oprah Winfrey Show, she described her life before fame as simple and uneventful. Later, in a 2013 interview with the BBC, Susan Boyle shared that she had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, giving the world a deeper understanding of who she was. In late 2014, news surfaced that she was in a romantic relationship, surprising many of her fans since it was her first. By 2022, however, she faced a major health scare, a small stroke that she openly talked about in June 2023 after performing on Britain's Got Talent. This led to more conversation about her decision to stay in her childhood home, even though she had achieved worldwide fame and success. Her story is one of incredible transformation. She went from living a quiet life to gaining worldwide attention. At first, people underestimated her because of her appearance and shy personality, but her audition on Britain's Got Talent shocked everyone with her amazing voice. It quickly silenced any doubts and changed her life forever. Despite dealing with bullying in her earlier years, she received praise and admiration after her audition. Her performance went viral with over 100 million views, and even a song she had sung years earlier, Cry Me a River, became popular again online. Even though she dealt with illness and exhaustion during the competition, she never gave up. She finished as the runner-up to the dance group Diversity, but her true victory was her courage to step on stage and perform. Her emotional performances and determination inspired people, including leaders, to realize that it's never too late to chase your dreams, no matter your age. But this was just the beginning of the story. Her journey was far from over. Her first album, I Dreamed a Dream, came out in November 2009, and it had an incredible impact. It broke sales records and became one of the fastest-selling debut albums by any female artist, with more than 2 million copies sold around the world in just 1 week. In the UK, it became the most pre-ordered album ever on Amazon. By the end of the year, it was recognized as the top-selling album globally, with Billboard noting how impressive its first week sales were, something not seen since the early 1990s. But that wasn't the peak of her career. After her debut, she earned several Guinness World Records, including for the fastest-selling debut album by a female artist and the highest first-week sales. She also made history as the oldest person to have a debut album reach #1 in the UK. Her amazing voice and touching personal story connected with fans, especially in the United States, where she was widely celebrated on shows like America's Got Talent. The days of people underestimating her were long gone. She fully embraced her success and moved forward with pride. After I Dreamed a Dream, she continued to release successful albums, including The Gift in 2010, Someone to Watch Over Me in 2011, Standing Ovation, The Greatest Songs from the Stage in 2012, Hope in 2014, and A Wonderful World in 2016. However, despite all the fame and international success, she stayed humble. She chose to live in her childhood home, a decision that showed her deep connection to her roots. This simple choice reflected her love for the familiar life she grew up with and showed that fame hadn't changed her at heart. But then, things took a turn. After years of being in the spotlight, she decided to take a step back to focus on her health and personal well-being. This led many of her fans to wonder if she was retiring for good. In 2019, though, she made a beautiful comeback with her album 10, which celebrated her 10-year career. The album featured some of her most well-loved songs and reminded everyone of her lasting impact on music. Still, despite this success, something felt different. Fans noticed a change in her, and many believed it was due to her ongoing health issues. She had achieved so much, but with her health in mind, she decided to retreat from the public eye and live a quieter, more peaceful life. She became famous overnight after her amazing performance on Britain's Got Talent, winning hearts all over the world. But the busy schedule that followed, non-stop rehearsals, media attention, and the pressure to always look perfect, started to take a toll on her. Even though she was loved by many, not winning the competition and constantly facing criticism was tough for her to handle. After the show ended, her health took a serious turn for the worse. She had to be rushed to the hospital because she had a major emotional and physical breakdown. The pressure of being on the show, along with the lack of support during the final stages, completely overwhelmed her. There were even reports that she had arguments with a staff member, showing just how much stress she was under. Things only got worse. That same evening, her behavior at her London home worried her staff so much that they had to call the police. This led to her being taken to a mental health care facility. News of her breakdown spread quickly, sparking public debates about whether shows like Britain's Got Talent care more about ratings than the well-being of their contestants. It was revealed that the show's team had ignored her mental and physical health in the lead-up to the finale. There were talks about an investigation into how the show was run, but no formal action was taken. Still, this experience taught her an important lesson about balancing her health with her career. With the echoes of her past chapters still lingering, Susan prepared to compose the next verses of her remarkable saga. Susan's diagnosis transformation. In 2013, Susan Boyle received a life-changing diagnosis. After years of being wrongly labeled as having brain damage, doctors discovered she had Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism. This news brought mixed emotions: relief because she finally understood the reason for her challenges, but sadness for all the years spent under the wrong diagnosis. The day she got her diagnosis changed everything for her. It helped her see the struggles she'd faced before in a new light and pointed her toward the right help and support. When she thought back to her school days, she remembered always feeling out of place, both in her studies and with her classmates. This often left her feeling very lonely. The diagnosis gave a name to her struggles, and with that came a sense of relief. She no longer blamed herself as much, and it changed how she saw herself. In an emotional interview, she talked about how painful it had been to be wrongly labeled brain damaged. She hoped that by being open about her experience, more people would show understanding and kindness toward others with similar conditions. That same year, she found out she also had type 2 diabetes, forcing her to make big changes in her life. This included giving up some of her favorite foods, like chocolate. Dealing with diabetes was tough, especially while she was still learning about her neurological condition. Then, the last health crisis hit. making things even harder. For more than 2 years, she had to be isolated to protect her health. This meant she couldn't work on her music or collaborate with others, putting her career on hold and making it difficult to reach her professional goals. During this difficult time, she also had to deal with personal problems. In 2010, after she bought a new house, local vandals harassed her and damaged her property. It got so bad that she moved back to her childhood home, giving the new house to her niece. Around the same time, she lost her sister Bridie, who passed away from cancer at 73. Bridie had always been a strong source of support for her, so her loss made things even harder. There were also growing tensions in her family. After she helped her brother Jerry with his business, some of her other siblings felt left out. Things got worse when Jerry publicly accused her of lying about a personal issue between them, which put a big strain on their relationship. Despite all of this, a surprising turn came in 2016 when a public breakdown at an airport led to her and her siblings coming back together, helping heal some of the family wounds. Her love for music is still strong, even though she now enjoys a quieter life. Recently, she talked about one of her biggest regrets, not having children. Still, she finds happiness in a private relationship with an American man, who, although anonymous, has been a strong support for her during important moments. Her journey is a powerful story of resilience. It's not just about her musical success, it's about how she stayed strong and true to herself, even when life threw tough challenges her way. Her life shows just how far determination can take a person, no matter what obstacles stand in the way. Now let's take a look at Simon Cowell's thoughts on her and her incredible path. At first, Simon was just another tough judge, but he quickly became one of her biggest fans. He was amazed by her rise to fame, especially because it was so different from what usually happens in the entertainment world. Simon pointed out that a lot of people become famous for their looks or charisma, but she wasn't chasing fame. She simply wanted to share her voice with the world, and that made her stand out. Simon clearly remembers the day she first auditioned. It had been a long, boring day, with one forgettable act after another. He was tired and not expecting much from the next performer. When she walked on stage, she seemed awkward, and he figured it would be another disappointing act. The audience wasn't excited either. Simon braced himself for a dull performance, but as soon as she started singing, everything changed. Her powerful, clear voice immediately grabbed everyone's attention. Simon's doubts turned into amazement. It was a reminder that true talent can show up when you least expect it. What happened next was incredible. Her audition wasn't just a hit in that room, it spread across the world. When her performance aired, it became a global sensation. Simon, who was in Los Angeles at the time, noticed that her voice and story were on every TV channel. She had gone from a quiet Scottish village to being a worldwide star almost overnight. But this wasn't the hardest part. With all the fame came a lot of pressure. Simon remembered how she struggled to handle her sudden celebrity status. There was one incident in New York where she seemed completely overwhelmed. Yet, these moments weren't signs of weakness. They were moments where she realized just how much love and support she had, especially from her fans in America. Some fans even made her a quilt, showing how much she meant to them, and this touched her deeply. But it wasn't just about one amazing performance or quick fame. Simon believes Susan's story is really about her strength and realness. She went from living a quiet life to being a global icon, and through it all, she remained herself. Her story is a powerful reminder of how true talent and staying true to yourself can inspire the world. Curious about Susan Boyle's sudden retreat from the limelight? Was it merely for peace, or are there deeper, undisclosed reasons? If you enjoyed the exploration, like this video, subscribe for more intriguing stories and share your thoughts below.